Hey everybody, welcome to the nightly vid. We're going to see in IWM inside day. Either side of that gets our attention. SPY, 3-1 inside day. That gets our attention as well. Qs, inside day, top of the range. That gets our attention as well. The Dow Jones, inside day as well. So you got simultaneous inside days for the simultaneous break, which could be a 2 or a 3, but we want to know about that. One thing we just want to be aware of is, beginning of the month, right? More prone to rev strats that could change things. Just because we're a little closer to the month open, things can change easier. But at this point, most things are closer to 2 up tomorrow. So we'll have a slight bias, but we'll see what's setting up either direction. That being said, let's dive into some of the sectors. Starting with the real estates from the weekend vid, you'll see the 2-2 day to the upside on a Tuesday, which could cause the 2-2 week on the first week of the month, which could trigger the 2-2 month and confirm a 2-2 hammer quarter with a slight PMG if they can re-break it. It's not that strong, but let's see healthcare's. You'll see healthcare's inside week, but the hammer day. And like we were saying with the healthcare's, it could go either way. We prefer the upside for the 3-2 expansion. What you want to look for is you'll see lower lows on the 60 and slight lower lows. They're bringing it back through the range. So that's setting up to take this out, which could take this out. So we're going to look for that and see if we can't get something there tomorrow on the 2-2 day. We also have financials. We talked about on the weekend vid. We said there's a big 3. The question is, are you staying out? But if the market's weak, these would be some of the weaker ones, along with utility staples. In this case, slight lower low. Right? And this is why we don't have to be the first one trying to short things, right? We don't need to short into these lows. Now, you could have shorted in the morning on Friday, or afternoon, But in this case, right, they open up right at the new lows and then 2-2 reversal on, at 10:15. Then you get the 60 flip and they bring them back in. And you'll see they chop sideways, making some higher lows and some higher highs. So in this case, potentially the 3-2-2 on a Tuesday, which could cause the 3-3 week and re-break the 3-2 month. Now the question is, if that works, right, then that'll happen. Now if it fails, right, let's say we go up, then we start coming back in the other way. We could also re-break a 3-2 week, re-break the month. So that's something I will want to note, right? Either that works, we go up here, or it fails and we see some new reversals to go the other way. If we go to materials, you'll see the hammer day, and this was actually one we talked about in the vid. I had a few takes of that vid last night just because I had so much stuff going on. I had to pause and restart. But you'll see they go into the new lows, hammer signal, and then boom. Right? And then if you miss that, nice. Slight lower low, boom. Slight lower low, boom. Pretty cool stuff. But then you'll see the hammer day, 2-2 on a Tuesday setting up to go to the top of the broadening formation, to trigger a 2-2 week, to trigger a 2-2 month, to confirm a 2-2 quarter, similar to the real estates. And then discretionary. We'll see an inside day setup. So no triangle day out here, maybe slightly on lower time frames, but inside day to start with the SPY Qs, Dow and IWM. That being said, let's go and take a look at some of our leaders to start, and then our actionable signals will be at the end of the vid. So the first thing we can do is we can go to the StratAlerts scanner. You can find it at stratalerts.ai/scanner if you don't have it already, but we're going to look at signals that are breaking to start. So we like the 3-2-2, as we can gauge the target to the high of this scenario 3, and it's column 2 or candle 2 column. Now in this case, the leaders are going to be Marvel, Urban, ZS, Crowd, Vive, and whatever this is, and maybe Dix. So that's what we see to the upside, 3-2-2 to start. So we can go and take a look at that. And I will just kind of tab back and forth here. But Marvel and Urban. You see Marvel, the 3-2-2, fun to say, fun to do. The reason we like that is because we know to target the other sides of outside bars. So something like this. As long as we're above last week's highs, what are we going to look for? Well, similar to what we had today. So on a 15, 30, and 60 basis, we look for the lower lows. Then once it comes back in, that signal's ready to go. Boom. So we're just going to wait for that. And we have some lows here. Maybe we gap down by tomorrow morning. That'd be one way to do it. If we go to Urban Outfitters, the 3-2-2, and notice, right, is this coming after a lower low? It is. That's something we look for. Increases the odds of that working. So in this case, we can target the other side of the 3 and new higher highs. Since we have higher highs, lower lows, higher highs is the next part of the broadening sequence. So similarly, What do you look for? Well, we look for the lower lows first, and you'll see what caused this move with some lower lows on Monday here. Boom, up they go. And then what do you wait for? Again, some slight lower lows, not to here, but to here. Lower lows, signal, boom, up they go again. So we'll see if we set up another triangle layout later this week. I'd like to see this taken out if we're going to take it. 72.37. If we go to Zscaler, 322 PMG. This is a Lotto Friday candidate because once we see multiple pivots lined up like this, if we can stay above this 28470 this week, we still have some range to go after this to make a position. But if we can stay above that, we can target all these guys, maybe even to go further to the new highs. But in this case, we'll see a nice daily triangle, lower low, inside day. What do you do? Boom, up they go. Then 2-2 week, as long as we're above that, we're going to look for some triangle layouts to get back in there. And you'll see lower lows here. This is what caused the rally in the afternoon. That's what you look for. But we'll see. Can we get some lower lows later this week to get in there? Crowd. The 322, where's that going? Up there, 447.80. So still got a good ways to go, 5%. Same thing, right? Can we make some lower lows first? You'll see in the morning, lower low, boom, rally. Here, lower low, rally. And then slight lower low, rally into highs of the day. Ideally, we'd have something like this, so we can have a bigger range to come back through tomorrow, or even down in here. And if we can take this out, that'd be good, but we'll let them triangle lay out, and then we'll go after it as we do. Let's see, Dix, it's pretty much the last one I'd want to be looking at, but 322 weak, you'll see shooter day. So if things are going to be weak, maybe Dix, or maybe it's just slight triangle out. We'll see. In this case, you'll see, unlike the other ones, right? Lower lows, then higher highs. So what do they do? Profit taking. Lower lows didn't work. Rejection. Right. And then they changed the daily continuity. So down they're going for now. That being said, that is what we see here. So the way this works is, since we know they bottom Monday, any of those things that can make some signals and then back to the upside in that direction, we look for that strat attack where they buy Monday and then come back and buy even more Tuesday, because then we have high evidence of a buyer, and you tend to have strat attacks and simultaneous breaks at the beginning of the month. So it's something we want to look for. That being said, let's see if we have any 1-2-2 reversals. 26 1-2-2 signals this week. Got Hood in there. And this is a good gapper list name. Look at this thing. Lower lows to what? This, lower low, and then reclaims. Where's it going? Boom, right up in here, and up they go. You'll see on the gappers today, 3 to the downside. So they gapped up and sold everything they had, and then it gaps up here. Anyone short, take them the other way. And just so you can see how this is going to work, right in the morning when volatility is high, you can use a 1-er. Go in there, right here. Boom, and you're in for the whole day, and maybe it keeps going. Pretty cool stuff. If we go to CPNG, see another crazy mover in here to start the week. CDNS, a rev strat week to the upside, still an inside month. TXT, a lot of names, I'm not the most familiar with. TXT, 2-2 month, 2-2 week. That, let's see. A lot of randoms in here. So you can see we're sorting at this point, I believe, by dollar amount change. So you can do by percent and see if there's any other guys in there. Some nobodies and a lot of stuff that's not interesting. So not many 1-2-2 rev strats this week, but Hood and CPNG, that can be on there. All right. Now let's see if we can do the 2 up. So the 2-2-2, 2 up, 2 down, 2 up signals breaking. And wow, I got a good amount in here. Adobe GoDaddy. So Adobe, I think they're being replaced by Figma. So honestly, I'm not the most interested in winning trades here, but you can create a winning trade into a pivot machine gun regardless of, news. Maybe it's just heavily shorted because of Figma's launching. And this could still, do a pretty crazy short squeeze in here. That's something I like to see. GoDaddy. 222 week. What could that do? Maybe 22 month, right? It did change continuity to green here, so we have no evidence of the previous monthly sellers. We also are going to have a 2 week rev strat, 2 going 3, so maybe a 1-3-2 on a 2 week chart. You got big, nice 3 week pivot machine guns, so definitely have stuff to come back through in GoDaddy. And you'll notice bottom of this big monthly broadening formation. So we draw this out. The weekly looks like this: hammer week, just this mother bar. You're stuck right in between these two bars here. So is that going to be strong enough to actually get out of there? And this quarter is still pretty red. The year is still 2 up in red. So is it more likely to go all the way back to the highs here, or make a higher high, or slight higher high, and then back down? At this point, they're buying it, but got a lot to change. You need at least that monthly reversal to get them going. Semis did trigger the week, the weekend vid with TAC, so it's going to help us out. That's about it. Not a lot of leaders here. Now let's just do, straight up now ALAB app. Now 322 month breaking. That's something we want to know about. ALAB is just gunning. Look at this 2-2 quarter. You can see the 2 up, the 2 down, the 2 up. That's what we look for. What else do you look for? The 1, the 2 down hammer, 2 up, boom. Oh my gosh. Rob was ahead of his time. Let's see, cost. Costco, they bought it last week, came back this week to buy more. So what that does is confirms potential 322 to this 99896, give or take, pretty much just 1,000. DE, notice the lower lows. It has been making lower lows for a while. So they tried to reverse it here, didn't work. No reversal here, continuation. Another reversal here. Now, what's different this time? The month is green. Last time in this half, the month was red. So that changes what's happening. And we have industrials. 3-1 setup. Dow Jones inside setup. So guess what? DE, they bought it Monday. If those things confirm, that should go flying for us with the 2-2 week. I just want to quickly look at some of the other industrials and just see what they're looking like. A lot of hammers, a lot of kind of sideways chop, but we'll see what comes of it. Cat will be in there as well normally. Hammer day cat. So a hammer day cat with DE, that's something we can be looking at for tomorrow. I'll put some stars next to it. Spotify, the 3-2 week. And if that week works, could trigger an inside month reversal. And have they stopped buying Spotify since here, the lower low and entry signal? No. Right, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 1. Right, get short, get out. Uh-oh, it's still going up, right? That's gonna be fun. Let's see, TTWO. Nice monthly break. Start off the new month. Beautiful. This one you can see 2-2 reversal. Up they go. Beautiful, beautiful stuff in here. ASML. It's also in there for the monthly signals. AMD and NVIDIA not as fortunate as other chips, which is very interesting. You'll see AMD triangle layout, lower lows, triangle layout again, higher highs. And at this point, right, they're trying to bring them back through here. Now, are they strong enough sellers to do that? I'm not certain. That being said, we could go through a lot more signals. I'm just going to quickly do that for you. If you don't have the scanner, let's give it to you. So we'll go to the inside days, and what we can do is just ATR at least 3. So that's 71, and we'll go by ATR percent at least 2, just so we have something that's moving. Then we'll go highest to lowest. So here is your inside days, right? If we go 3-1, here's all your 3-1 days, highest to lowest price. Here's all your 2-1 days, highest to lowest price. And you can go and take a look at that yourself. But going into tomorrow, I got a lot of these higher time frame signals that I want to be watching. And all we're going to do, we're just going to look for some triangle outs this week and, show you guys what we can do with that. So adios, guys. I'll see you guys bright and early Tuesday morning. So tomorrow morning. And I haven't been on in a long time, so it should be a fun stream. But see you guys then. Have a good rest of your night, and peace.